What up, everybody? Welcome to Late Night Live number 127. Sorry, I realized I totally forgot to post the streaming coming up soon on Instagram earlier today, so anybody who's here is probably people that are here all the time. What's going on, Marilyn? How you doing this evening? Hello, Swinny. Now, full disclosure to everybody, I did wake up with a bit of a scratchy throat this morning. I think I slept with my mouth open last night, and with the heater on, because it is winter, the air is drier in my apartment, so I might be talking a little bit quieter, maybe a little bit less. What are we kidding? Probably not less than normal. What's going on, Skeet? Hello, Olivia. How's everybody doing today? As you can see, I'm back on this, the beige paper, or the tan khaki paper. What do we call it? Beige? Tan? Khaki? I decided to print some guides on it, just so I have some straight lines to follow. I thought about it earlier, Olivia, just because my throat was feeling a little not chill. I figured hours of talking might not be the best for it, but we're diving in. I felt like writing, so I did make tea, Marilyn, so I will be not forgetting to sip this one today. It's not like super bad, it's just a little, feels like I have a dry throat, which I'm not much a fan of. Alright, so today my plan, I don't always have a big plan in these streams, and today's plan isn't like super rock solid, but I am working on the capital D. Anybody who attends these streams knows the capital D is a stroke that I struggle with, always have, probably always will, but I'm working on that one today. So I got the copy of my favorite book, Lessons in Ornamental Penmanship by PZ Blozer, and we are going to chip away at it. Practice, practice, practice today. Now I'm curious, hopefully the ink is visible on this paper enough for the stream. If it ends up being too light, I can switch to black paper if we need, but I'm enjoying the tan, so we'll use the tan for now. Oh yeah, December, true. That's the capital D. I'm writing quite small here. My line width is 7/16 of an inch, which is quite tiny. Normally I would do my capitals, let's see if I just do natural size. Somewhere like that is about my natural. So about 1.5 of the spaces, but I want to try to control it, so we're going to drop it down in size just a little bit, see if we can keep it smooth and keep it nice. Speaking of preparing for December, is everybody ready for December? It's coming up pretty quick. Get up. Nay. Me either. Hesitation happening right about there, so we're going to cancel the winters. Don't rush me. Good song. I'm gonna zoom you guys in a little bit more since I'm writing so small today. And again, just to reiterate, this would be my natural size, which has a decent, relatively natural flow to it. We are trying to shrink that. I want to write a little bit smaller. without losing any of that fluidity. Now, in PZ Blozer's book, he recommends doing this stroke here, and then stopping, lifting up there. I've never really liked that exercise, but maybe the fact that I've never done it a whole lot is the reason that the strokes like this bug me. What's going on, Annie? Lifting off in that smooth motion and keeping that part in the air so I don't get that weird angle on the end. Exams today. Is that what subject are your exams today, Annie? Two inches is huge, Marilyn. D is your favorite letter? Well, respect to that. I like the look of the capital D, but I've never been much a fan of writing it. We're gonna do some of these with a relatively small shade. I gotta stop. I do this exit stroke just so habitually, but I'm trying to do. We're gonna do this exercise right here in the book. Lift the pen after the shade to build confidence. Well, I have the confidence, I want to keep going, but we're gonna see. Maybe it'll be helpful. Whoa. Ooh, that sounds fun. At least it's not like exams in mathematics or things like that. Whoa, finger caught on my sheet there. I cut my shades off a little bit quick, I guess, when I don't do the exit stroke. If I do the it's interesting how that works. If I do the exit stroke in the air, everything comes out. The beginning wasn't very nice, but that shade shape comes out really nice. So I feel like that's what I have to do. I guess we'd call that a follow through. Except I don't want to get that hook. I gotta make sure that I'm ending it soon enough. It's an oral exam, so they ask you questions and you have to answer them. That's fun. I actually watched I saw a clip, I think it was on a YouTube short earlier today or yesterday, where somebody was saying that's one of the best ways that they could potentially battle against like the artificial intelligence doing or being able to write people's essays or term papers or answer questions and stuff. There's cool. Then you have the students come in, ask them the questions, and make them answer them. I think that's brilliant. Oof, rough. There we go. That was smoother. I also am trying to also get used to, so I make this oval very much on the slant line. And then I know some people make it flat. But in the books, it's sort of like half and half. It's on like this kind of an angle. It's a little bit angled. So I'm trying to get used to making that oval in a better shape. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to be right back. I have returned. Oof. Yeah, that's scary. Especially when it comes to doctors and stuff. That's getting there. That's the idea. Nope. Need to have that follow through. Yeah, I think that's super helpful. If you, I'm assuming, Anna, you mean like if something is getting, if one specific stroke is messing you up, like for example, if it's this little loop, I think that's a great way to practice. If you can take, I mean, you need eventually the flow of the whole letter, but that's the part that I need to work on. If that little loop is bugging me, if I'm having it too small or too horizontal. I know some people like it flat on the baseline like that, which feels super weird to me. Yeah, all you gotta do is just get that one piece of the letter to practice it over and over again until it's consistent. Like personally, I like to also add a slight little accent shade right on that downstroke. So you could do that with the entire letter, but if you just want to focus your attention right on that little downstroke, so then you can get both the shade, but then what comes after it, how high do you cross, and things like that. I tend to come up quite high because I used to do my capital D's. I would drop that little loop quite low below the baseline. That's a bit of an extreme example, but I would drop it quite low below the baseline. Yeah, I think breaking down, I mean, there's a reason that the PZ Blozer book is my favorite, and they break down every single letter, every single form. I mean, a lot of the books do that. But I don't feel like we do that a lot when we practice. We want to do the whole thing. But I think focusing on the pieces is super important. Like the entry oval, for example. A lot of people don't have a nice smooth entry oval, or it ends up looking a little too rounded. I know My exit ovals aren't shaped quite as nice as my entrance ovals. I have noticed. So that's one thing that I gotta get. And I don't know how to fix it. It's a matter of doing it and just feeling what one that looks correct or looks the way I want it to feels. I feel like it's super important. And then after that, we go and obviously then you combine everything together so you can have the entire flow. I don't think you want to be picking up 4 or 5 times during a capital letter. You can, but I think it affects the flow if you do that. Ugh. I think that makes complete sense to me. Annie? Hey, Himani, welcome. Nice to have you back after ages. I was gone for pretty much a month, so don't worry about taking some time off. Yeah, I think if you're able to mentally separate the forms that you're trying to create, this sort of goes to the debate of some people will say you have to practice one, or you should do one thing at a time, which is undoubtedly the fastest way to get good at one thing or to get proficient. But I genuinely feel like all of the scripts and all of the techniques that they require you to refine and practice help each other. Even slower and grosser script and ornamental penmanship. I think so long as you can separate the two, form-wise and movement-wise and everything, I think that training that goes from one to the other totally helps. I think I see improvements in my ornamental penmanship and sort of fluidity every time I practice business penmanship. So that's one thing that I've sort of been drawn to practice business penmanship more often, to sit down and drill those letter forms, drill those letters. When I'm practicing business penmanship, part of the exercise is on the fluidity of my movement when I'm writing, because I don't want to be stopping all the time. And then other part of the practice is the look of the whole thing. It's slightly different than ornamental penmanship. So the way, or that I have sort of a natural kind of running hand type of look. So I like to, when I practice business penmanship, it forces me to think about another form, so it stops me from being lazy, I guess. It stops me from not thinking about what I'm doing. And then when I go back to ornamental penmanship, I don't just go back to what's comfortable and what's natural. I'm always then focusing on, okay, I practice business penmanship. I want to make sure that doesn't become a habit. I don't want my ornamental penmanship to look like my business penmanship. So I'm consciously focusing on making my business penmanship or my ornamental penmanship look like my ornamental penmanship. What's going on, Mohamed? How's it going? This is sort of what I mean when I said my exit strokes. This is an entry stroke, but just because I see it here. You see how this one has this nice taper, sort of even to, not a point, but whereas this one is more blunt on the end. That's the difference I'm talking about. My exit stroke often looks more blunt on the end than it does nice and ovoid. It would be very good for me, I think, to also go back and practice traditional Spencerian capitals written with rapid movement, which is something I don't do terribly often. But I don't do that very often. But it would be a good training exercise, I think. Ooh, how short I am there. Paused up at the top. Yes. So, just speaking of the capital W, what are you leaning towards practicing? I know on the Discord there was a Mataraz W that looked very beautiful that used that sort of oval shade more so than a stem shade variation. Are you partial to the stem shade? Is that, or to the oval shade? Is that your goal? Oof. Why am I writing these too small? Too small. This a little closer together. Oof. Feeling a little out of control. That's good. I'm really glad that that a good variation was posted there so you could see, because I couldn't remember sort of who did one like that or specifically pull one up, so I'm glad that was there. So it's a good example. That I believe was that Lewis that posted that one. Yes, that is true, Marilyn. The scary, or the tricky bit is if you slow down too much, if you're trying to do fluid movement writing, you got to slow down just a little bit, because you slow down too much and you'll start to see that the lack of fluidity in the line. About finding that was a good one. About finding that balance. I mean, ideally in a perfect world, I wish I could go, I want to go slower. I'm always trying to go slower. I never want to go fast for the sake of being fast. All right, Annie, well, have fun with the exams. Good luck. Crush them. You got this. We'll talk to you soon. Skeet, if I'm writing this size, like this is the standard guide sheet that I would write. If I'm shrinking my capitals down to this size, my lowercase are pretty much the same as they always would be. Which is like 1 and a bit millimeters, I would say. My standard size. The reason one of the reasons I want to try to shrink down my capitals a little bit, if I was writing, say, a letter or something like that, and I was writing it on, if I was writing on this size of paper, or this size of ruling, if there was a capital in the middle, like if I was just doing OP for a card or something, let's drop down a line here. If I was just doing a card, whoops, I would write something like that. Like so. But if I was writing a letter, to rule for that, Like, that is quite a wide ruling, and I'm not going to get a ton of stuff on the page. So I want to get a little more information on the page, so I just want to shrink my capitals just a little bit. The name would still be relatively large. I would write usually the capital letter of the name of the person I'm writing a little bit larger. But just to control. It's one of those things where, in those moments, call me a glutton for punishment, I guess you could say. I want to write small just so I have control at this size. You got them back for being too small? What do you mean? Like your writing was too small, or the envelope itself was too small? Ooh. That's the one. That's the movement I want. And this is also, as I am not doing business penmanship today, but in like business penmanship capitals and whatnot, this is the size, or this is the ruling that I would be using for business penmanship. So I want to get used to also having that fluidity of movement in the smaller size. A fun challenge. That's the idea. We are coming up a bit high here. The post office has a bone to pick with you. $12mm? That's huge. This B, so I don't use the pinky pivot technique. I would love to, but it legitimately feels weird to me every time I practice it. So for the pinky pivot, it's sort of a combination of the push-pull and a bit of, because of just where my elbow is, a bit of hinge movement. If I was writing, you can see here at like, I'm just assuming that's probably like a 52-degree slant. My B is, I naturally write quite a bit more slanted than that. And when I write that slanted, I can utilize a bit of hinge. So I'll just write a B real quick here. So it's a bit of hinge to do that ascender. But I don't ever use for those of you in here, if anybody's or watching this afterwards that doesn't understand what the pinky pivot is, to my understanding, when we write, we use forearm movement. So our forearm is planted, and that's the sort of fleshy bit that's stretching on the table, and we use that as our yeah, that's where we stretch from. And the pinky touches the ground, but the pinky is sliding freely on the side of our finger, or on the pinky nail, or on the fingernails if you're doing something like business penmanship. Where with pinky pivot, you sort of treat the pad of the pinky finger like your forearm, where when you do certain strokes, the pinky, it's hard to demonstrate because it's underneath my hand, but the pinky sort of stays where it is, and you stretch you sort of move around it, but it stays planted. To me, it doesn't feel good. It feels restrictive to me when I do the pinky pivot. So I don't use it. I have tried to practice it, and I will probably continue trying to practice it. But to date, it just never feels comfortable. So when I do ascenders, it is just fully my arm going at whatever angle it has to go at. It's usually a combination of a little bit of hinge and just a push-pull coming from the upper arm. And the pinky finger underneath is just, it slides like it does for everything else. Yeah, I drag it along. So my pinky never, my hand basically never changes. Like this portion of my hand, these 3 fingers never change, really. So with the pinky pivot, you'd be stopping here and then sort of like flexing, I guess, or that pen or that pinky would be, it would stop moving with the whole arm. But if my arm is doing this, my pinky is in that exact same spot. Just like if I put this lid on the table, the lid never pivots or moves. Everything moves as one solid piece. Now, it is recommended to use the pinky pivot technique. Who gave it that name? I don't remember. Bailey, okay, had a good explanation for it. I know the first time I read about it was in CP Zahner's Lessons in Ornamental Penmanship. I believe is the first time I ever heard of it or considered it. But it just feels weird. So I personally don't utilize it. It feels very strange to me to plant any of my hand on the table. It feels wrong. That oval is beautiful. Not a fan of the beginning part, but that oval came out very nicely. No shade, so. There's another one of those. You can see the top of this D here has that blunt oval look rather than a nice ovoid look. Or ellipsis. Back in the day when I first got into movement writing, I did everything with whole arm. The only thing that touched the page at all was my pinky. I raised my chair and I raised myself up, so my forearm never even touched the table. I knew to use forearm movement, but it felt restrictive. Like I say, the pinky feels restrictive. It felt restrictive, so I did all of my preliminary practice, which is totally backwards, using whole arm movement for quite a while before I decided to drop the forearm and adopt and practice forearm movement. And there are some moments that I kind of wish I still did it that way. Way harder to control things, especially at like this size. But the freedom and fluidity just feels incredible. As even the forearm can feel somewhat restrictive sometimes. Okay, we want to come down a little bit, a little lower. Too far to the right on that. I have a bad habit of making my capital D's smaller than every other letter, and you can see that's evident by how many of these capital D's I'm writing small, and I still end up being a good 1 to 2 millimeters below the line. I mean, if I was writing a letter, that's good because it leaves room for spacing. But today, I'm actually trying to I want to go top to bottom to hit the size target that I'm going for. That's better. Have fun at work, Mohammed. We'll talk to you soon. I don't think I do. Is it on paper? Christmas tree that looks wicked cool. And a tree bauble that looks awesome. Hello, Sapphire Man. Wait. Sapphire Manga. Lords. There we go. I will call you Lords instead of Sapphire Manga. Welcome, Lords. Is that how you say that? Lords? Southern California in the house. Slow down just a little bit. Now I'm trying to imagine how I would say it in a French accent. But I'm not going to say it out loud, because it will probably sound ridiculous if I try and fail. What is going on? Short and pointy. You can see here, this is an extreme example of it, but I often put where this little top of this loop is to the right of where my downstroke is here, which means I need to travel. This needs to go a little bit farther to the left so that the apex of that curve, of that little implied oval, is being bisected by the downstroke, is what I would like. Turn off habit and turn on control. Look how short that is. That's better. French would be lourd in French. More of an OU sound. Je parle un peu le français, but not very well anymore. It's been a long time. See, there's one of those blunt exit strokes. I stopped for a while. I was doing French on Duolingo just when but I stopped doing French because they messed with the keyboard. They started Duolingo. I shut off the the sort of setting that would use the French keyboard. It was supposed to just always use my standard English keyboard, but Duolingo would ignore it. It would overpower my phone settings. And I just got so frustrated because I'd just be randomly typing in answers, sort of rapid fire, going pretty quick. And then I would look down and it would tell me I was wrong. And I wouldn't even think, and I would look at what I wrote and it was all just gibberish letters because it was using the different keyboard. And I couldn't fix it. So I was like Googling and I was on Reddit trying to figure out if other people were having the issue, and other people were as well, and nobody knew how to fix it. This was like over a year ago now. So I just stopped, and that's when I went to Japanese. So I do Japanese on Duolingo now. I don't do French anymore because it frustrated me. I was doing it though for a while, but now it's Japanese. Okay, it's that. I like actually the abruptness of that, but I want that downstroke to be like here. It's frustrating. In Japanese, I don't have to type anything, so I don't use the keyboard. Yet anyways, I'm assuming I'll have to eventually, but translating with Google, I mean, that's cheating, isn't it? Gotta smooth that out like this. It's interesting. There'll be like 2 or 3 good shades and then one that has this asymmetrical shape. I like doing the Japanese ones, well, because I don't have to type yet, but I have the Roman letters turned off entirely, so it doesn't, when I first started, it felt too easy, because it would give me the Roman letters for each symbol. But then I turned that function off and restarted from the beginning, and that's way better, because I couldn't rely on just the sound. I actually had to also force myself to read the hiragana and katakana characters, and kanji as well. Very helpful. Not a huge fan of how they teach kanji, but meh. It's free, so I can't really complain. Too far apart. Legitimate practice day today. First two. Very close. The second one I quite like. Oh, I don't pay for it. I do not pay for Duolingo. But I don't do very many lessons or anything. I just do my 1 or 2 lessons a day, and then I'm good. And then I do lessons over again quite often. Whoa! What's going on, Ed? Long time no see. We got all sorts of California in the house today. Burbank's a nice area. There was an ad there. I don't know who sees the ads and who can skip the ads or whatnot. So Ed, the ad came in, I think, right when I said hi. But hello, Ed. If there was an ad playing when I said hi to you, I want to make sure that that wasn't missed. Long time no see. Hey, the bounce back is important. We all fall off. But luckily, we all bounce. Well, you just can't make mistakes, or just Swinny. Oof, there's that shape. I go into autopilot and I snap too quick. I gotta relax. Hello, Jan. Welcome, welcome. Ads happen, oh, just Swinny. Ads happen. There we go. No stress on those 3 shades. It's amazing how you can feel that. A stressed out shade versus a not stressed out shade. They feel completely different. But unless you're really paying attention, you won't notice. The key now is to remember what that feels like. And always do no stress shades. We want no stress writing always. Oh, that one had a little bit of stress. Do I have any online classes coming up? Aside from the couple that are on Mont Blanc and Live right now, I do believe I'm going to have a new class coming up with them in the new year, starting in the beginning of the new year, but still working out the details on that one. But aside from that, no, I don't have much in the way of online teaching at the moment. I'm really hoping to get back into the more regular in-person teaching, like things pre-COVID were. I would like for that world to come back a little bit. Whoa. See, that wasn't stress. That was just, I think, lazy. These ones are not as stress-free. Why? Tension in them. Sorry, was reading the chat over and over again there for a little bit. I got distracted. My computer's a little bit farther away from me than it normally is. I'm trying some different setups here. So the chat, and I'm also using trying a different chat function. Can I make it? Can I zoom? Oh! I can zoom! Yay, I just made chat bigger. Oh, that's awesome. Now I can read chat a little bit better because it's a little bit bigger. Woohoo! Celebrate. I find for me, I'm just gonna make this note because I was just thinking it in my head. It is so important for me to sort of the fluidity of this oval. I can't do, like, if you can see what happened here, where I have this little like point up at the top, that's if I'm writing and I just sort of go up and then down to the shade. If I'm focusing on just doing the downstroke of the shade, like if I'm just coming down into the shade, that's when that type of a look, like something like that, will come out. It's the sort of starting, it's from this upstroke, but then it's that full-on getting that oval shape. From here, that. And then applying the weight. Stress-free on that left side. Whoa, that was not a good one. Oh yeah, Ed, we go quick with the quickness. Well, there are people who write faster than me. And as I was mentioning earlier, I mentioned it actually today before you got here. My goal is actually to write slower without losing the fluidity of line is my goal. All right, Himani, thanks for hanging out with us. Glad you were able to practice. Keep practicing. Join the Discord. Share some stuff there. But yeah, it's the that nice fluidity of movement. And then yes, the light touch is something that is very important to me. This paper has a bit of tooth to it, as you can see by the snap I had earlier. It's a bit textured, not super textured, but a little bit. So I have to make sure that my pen is just touching the paper. All right, that's a beautiful airport. I enjoy flying out of the Burbank airport. If you didn't know, Lords, I used to live in California. I lived in North Hollywood for 12 years. And it was always the goal to fly out of the Burbank airport, then to spend a ton of time on the 405, getting to LAX. Messing with slightly different speeds. Yes, 405 can be a bit of a nuisance at all times of the day. Pre-check would be handy. I used to travel enough. I should have had pre-check, but I've never had it before. Pre-check or like TSA clear or any of those other services. Never had them. Global entry, that's another one, right? Whoa. Good one, not good one. That's the idea. Shooting for consistency today. Today's very much a practice stream. Less playtime than normal. I should have called this week Ornamental Penmanship Practice Session. Maybe I'll change the name once the stream is over. Because it's less playtime today and more so focused practice. A little bit. Oh, too angled and round. When I get off to the edge of this page from about here to the end, I have where my, this sheet right here is taped to my table. I can't put my page any farther, and I do feel like I'm reaching a little bit for those ones. My elbow is out farther than I would like it to be. So the ones on the end are not coming out that wonderful. Every once in a while they turn out okay, but I do feel like my elbow's reaching a little bit for those ones. Which isn't the best practice, but stress. Less stress. Oh, nice. Christmas cards. Oof. I have every intention every year, I've said this before on streams, of doing Christmas cards. Have I ever done Christmas cards? No. Never, unfortunately, to date, have I actually done Christmas cards. Oof. Give that one a happy face. Yes, Marilyn, you're on the list. I might do Christmas letters instead of Christmas cards. Just small little letters. Even though letters take longer than cards, I should just do cards. But I feel like if I do cards, I want to design them and have them printed, and that's a whole job. Postcards are a good idea, actually. What I should do is go to Mont Blanc, because they have postcards in their stores, and they will ship them for you. I just have to fill them out in the store. I should go to Mont Blanc and fill out a bunch of Christmas cards. Or Christmas postcards for people. I sent a few postcards from Germany when I was there to my family, but postcards is a good idea, actually. Maybe I'll do Christmas postcards. Okay, I think we can start adding the exit stroke here. I do have to run to the restroom really quickly. I do apologize. I drank a lot of water and tea today. I will leave this page of capital D's for you to look at while I leave. I will be right back. I need to make like a be right back animation or something, so you guys aren't just looking at nothing. Alright, before I dive back into the practice, check out what I've been working on this week. So it's scattered all over my apartment. I've mentioned it, everybody's been waiting months and months for me to finish this shelving unit behind me. But check these out. So, I need to paint the pipe that the shelves are going to be made out of. And I think I've mentioned this on stream before, but look at the pipe fittings. They say my last name. I feel like I've shown these on stream before, but it's just exciting putting all the pieces together. Like there's this little chunk. There is, how many of these? A lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 14, I think, of these little segments that go together. And they all say, yeah, they say my last name, which is fun. I did not customize them like this. The company that makes them just happens to be called Ward Manufacturing. And I ordered them specifically from there because, obviously, it's nice. It's fun to have my furniture in my apartment say my name. Because I'm vain like that, I guess. But yeah, there's pipe all over my apartment getting laid out and getting the little segments put together so that I can hopefully this week paint them and then begin assembly. Hopefully, because the wood is all good and ready to go. It's been cut, drilled, sanded, stained, clear coated. The clear coating took a long time, but it's all done now. Heck yeah, it does. My bed is made out of the same pipe, and all the fittings on my bed say Ward as well. So yeah, everything in my apartment will say my name on it. Which I'm not blind to how silly and ridiculous that is, but also I love it. Why would I not order from Ward Manufacturing? If I'm making pipe furniture, the pipe might as well say my name. I could. That's too much work. What I have to do, one of tomorrow's jobs, is to cut out. I have to cut out like 28 or more little leather circles. Just instead of using like like pads. They're just little pads so the wood and everything doesn't get all marked up. Because they're black iron. I don't want everything to get scratched up, so I need to make little leather pads for everything. Hello, Mum. Haha, no WD-40. Those threads will be permanent. I mean, no, it's all screwed together. If I need to take it apart, it's not too difficult to take the whole thing apart with a pipe wrench. Same thing with my bed. I made this bed when I was in California. Broke it down. It's heavy, but it's pretty easy to break down into all just the pipes. And then it traveled with me to Canada and then got built in a different way so that it fit. So the orientation worked for my apartment here. And then also my leather cutting table that is also made out of the same pipe and fittings. Ooh, too curvy. You can see me fighting my own natural angle tendency. If I were to just write what is completely natural to me, just like I did with that lowercase b earlier, we would get something that is much more angled like that. But I want to be working on more of a 52 angle and not notice there's no 52 angle on my page. I'm trying to self-regulate my angle to gain the habit of the angle that I want to write at. And of all the letter forms, D and O are the ones that have the biggest issue being too angled. Like O's, unless I do this variation of O, that's the only variation of O that likes to sit on the 52-degree slant line. Most other variations will go much more angled than a 52. Which isn't a bad thing, except I would like it to be closer to 52. So, that is what we train. Alright, I think we can start adding this, exit strokes to this. Capital D. Trying to get that exit stroke. Yeah, you can see blunt. It's quite round there and there. That's better. Because I don't want them to be what ends up happening when I do, say, a blunt one. You want to narrow the end, but you end up narrowing the whole thing, so you get an oval that's like that. But you don't want that because you want the lowercase letters and everything to fit in there. So you got to keep the whole thing at the middle points wide, but have it narrow quicker at the end. Or have a better taper at the ends to get that nice ellipsis. Ellipsis, is that what it is technically? Ellipse? Not ellipsis, ellipse. Shape down there. Decent shades on those ones. That one and that one. I'm quite happy with those. Nice. Who's that from, Marilyn? Too slow in the transition. Not fluid at the top. Michelle, right on. Good stuff, Michelle. Forgetting to put that curve right there a little farther to the left. What happened to our music? What? Does this song just... Oh, weird. That song just cut out and is silence. Strange. Oh, autofocus. Sorry. Thank you, Older Swinny. Sorry, forgot I was showing off the plumbing pipe. I mean, yeah, 3-foot-long Christmas card's pretty dope. Here's Confessions with Mike right now. Bad habits in penmanship. We'll call it habits in penmanship. Maybe it's not a bad habit. A lot of the old books talk about not touching the table. Like, you don't touch it, you don't lean on it. I very often do. I'm never, there's never weight on the table, but like I guess my rib cage does touch often, and I guess it's not supposed to. But it feels weird to not touch. It feels so far away. Just noticed that, so I figured I would share. Back my chest up a bit. Oh, and I get a nice capital D. Maybe that was the whole reason. It's the issue I've had my entire life. Or the entire penmanship journey. Doubtful. Okay. I do like the way that looks with this being on the right of the line, but I want it to be, this needs to go here. So the curve is on the middle. Oof, ugly exit oval, that one. Round exit oval. Blunt, we'll call it. We won't call it round, we'll call it blunt. Better. Ooh, I like that. Gotta be honest, I'm quite happy with some of these capital D's tonight. They're looking better than many of my capital D's look. On average. Ugh, blunt. It's always that exit oval. Blunt. Why? Those last two exit ovals were much better. Hello, Peter. How you doing this evening? Doing well. Glad to hear it. Very glad to hear it. Well is a good way to be doing. I gotta remember to plug in my humidifier. I meant to put it on before the stream. I plug in my humidifier before I go to sleep. Get a little humidity in this apartment. Since the heater's on in the winter, it's getting dry. Not nearly as dry as the house I grew up in. That was very dry. This thing is a monstrosity. I like that. I'll check it out afterwards. Blunt exit stroke. Started my shade too soon. Stressed. Same thing. But I'm very happy the size. Most of these attempts have been hitting the top and the bottom, which is a big goal. If you want to practice, I'm not using one of the guide sheets tonight, which I'm now realizing in hindsight I totally should have. You can either use PZ Blowzer's lessons in ornamental penmanship, which is the page I'm referencing today, or these are Lupfer's examples in this book. On the Discord, in the OP Resources channel, there is some printable guides there, which they have an angle and they are ruled, and twice on the page, once at the top corner, top left, and then once in the middle on the left, there is an example of every letter of the alphabet. So I should have printed out the capital D page, so then you always have right in front of you, without even needing to look for a book on the page you're writing on, you have an example of what you're trying to do, and then you do your practice, but you always have that there to always be looking back and forth to help reference. And I will reiterate, not to find what's wrong and to see how bad you did, but to see what you can tweak to make it look more like his. If his variation is your goal. I believe in the Discord there is one of those for Zaner and one of those for Lupfer. Variations of capitals. Can you hang it, Marilyn? Sounds like a card that should be hung. It's more of a banner than a card. Or you need a piano to put it on top of the piano. Go buy a piano if you don't have one, just so you can put the card on it. Dropped too low down that direction. Ooh, you have a piano. Well, there's a good piano. It seems like a pretty good place for a 3-foot card, if you ask me. There's a lot of good things you can display on a piano. Do you play piano, Marilyn? Nice. That's a good repertoire then, I guess. I wish I could play piano. I need to practice. Okay, I'm dropping a little bit too low. I need this to curve a little sooner. Just a little sooner. My issue with piano is I teach piano songs like dance choreography, where I learn what to do. I don't read music or really understand chords and all that stuff, but I can watch a YouTube video and memorize what the hand is doing to play something. But then, like dance choreography, even my own choreography that I make up, it doesn't take very long for that choreography to leave my brain. So if I sit down at a piano, I can't just play something. I need to learn some foundation so that I can sit down and freestyle. Or just play. I want to be able to just play something that sounds nice. It doesn't have to be super impressive. but just muddle my way through some melodic tunes. The beginning of COVID, I was working on sort of my fingering quite a lot to get that a little more comfortable, but then I moved and I haven't really practiced since moving into this apartment, which is bad. I need to get a piano bench. Now that I built a stand for my piano, or my keyboard, I have an electric piano. I guess I can still call it a piano. I built a new stand for it, so I need a chair that's not this rolling computer chair that I use here at this desk. I need to have a dedicated chair on the other side of the apartment for piano practice. I feel like playing. Sorry, I just read You're Very Merry on Birthday. I feel like that would be awesome to play. That's such a fun tune. I can't actually remember the piano bit, or I can't remember the tune now, other than I can remember the tune for the lyrics, but I don't remember what the actual song sounds like now that I think about it. I'll have to play it afterwards. It does. Okay, good to know. Fluidity in those few. Scared? Oh, Very Merry on Birthday on the piano? Oh, that's awesome, Peter. Were you a piano lessons kid growing up? Nice. Too far below the baseline on that one. I think that goes with for a lot of instruments, wouldn't you say? Good ones anyways. Age quite well. Or I guess, I mean, they're wood, so if they're, yeah, somewhere that has poor humidity for them, and they're not treated accordingly. That sounds good. Ooh, too far apart. Too far apart. Lost fluidity up there. Well, that sounds fun. Ooh. That's a little stressful to have the leg pop off right before a concert. Did you break it, Otis Winnie? I would like to play essentially just jazz music. Or there's a type of music called, what's it called? Strand? Stride? Stride? I think stride. Which I love the sound of, and I would love to learn how to play it one day. But it requires, it's like jazz, but not simple voicings with the left hand. Both the left and right hand are sort of doing their own thing, which boggles my mind how people do that. People sign, that was names of the repair people, I guess? It's one way to be remembered. How to get rid of that weird transition down there. Ooh. I've never used a piano with smaller keys before. That'd be interesting. I have tiny hands, so that would be handy. A whole page. Takes a while to fill an entire page. With practice. Gonna add the entry oval now. I think. Let's see if that kicks everything out of whack. We'll see. Not too shabby. What are some good D words? The smoothness there. Ooh, is that how you spell that? It's so hard to read them without spaces. It messes with my head. That's so hard to read, Marilyn. What do you mean that's better? That's not better. delicious. All right, Lord, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Ooh, lost my fluidity on the top. I already wrote dinosaur, Peter. Way ahead of ya. Dinosaur is definitely one of the first words that come to my mind when I think of D words. That's better. Devoted. Good word. Oh, messed up. My shade. Nice exit oval though, not blunt at all. Whoa. Itchy ear all of a sudden. Why? Weird. Flat entry oval. Good catch, Ojaswinny. Hello, Benny. How you doing? Welcome, welcome. I'm pretty good. My trip was amazing. The trip was really, really awesome. I just realized I haven't really posted on social media since I got back from my trip. Things have been pretty busy since I got back. But no, the trip was awesome. Very, very awesome. Felt so good to travel again. Dormammu, I'm here to bargain. Yeah, we're practicing the capital D today. Gotta get it looking better. And I gotta be honest, it's feeling alright. Not amazing, but it's feeling alright. Hello, Cyril. Welcome, welcome. How you doing? Oh, no such thing as being late. You're here when you're here, Cyril. It's been a pretty chill. I don't know if we'd call it a show today. We're just practicing. Just doing practice today. Filled a page of capital D's. Now I'm doing words with capital D, trying to retain some of that fluidity that I got in the previous page. It's not coming out exactly perfect, but feeling okay. Oh, well, good morning. What time is it for you now, actually, Cyril? Benny, it depends. I've had friends and students in the past who've said that switching grips has really it was really difficult for them, and then it almost caused them pain to rotate over. Um, for me, the change from a modern grip to a traditional grip was very natural as far as the way my arm and muscles worked. There was no extra tension or anything. I'm trying to think. Do you know what's causing? So you say creates tension in your forearm and shoulder. I'm trying to think of what's causing that tension, because a rotation of the hand, like the hand works independently of from your forearm. So the hand is really just rotating here. I can see, is that in camera? If my hand is rotating, nothing in my shoulder or anything should have to move for me to go from this grip to this grip. Nothing up in the upper arm really changes. A heavy pen, yeah, could cause tension. All right, Peter, thanks for hanging out. Have a good night. We'll see you soon. So I guess step number one, I would say try to figure out where that tension is coming from and why it's happening. All our bodies are built different, so I can't specifically say that it's the specific tension or issue you're feeling is common, but I will say, penmen in the past, students of mine have had issues with that. They've had extra tension somewhere, or they've had pain or extra muscle fatigue. And I think a lot of that potentially comes from, if you, like, say I'm here and I want to go to a traditional grip, so I bring my hand up, but then I end up like almost flexing certain muscles rather than staying in a super neutral, relaxed state. So I guess the key would be to figure out how to go from raising your forearm, rotating your hand over, but without any, like, you're not holding your arm up. You want to be, I would wager, here, I'm gonna zoom out real quick. I could be wrong about this, but I feel like the majority of people, and this is why I feel like it should be relatively natural for a lot of people. If you rest your hand on a desk, like if you were just sat down at a desk and put your hands down, I would bet that most people would not rest like this. Most people would not likely rest with their hand on the side. If you were just resting, you probably rest hands down, wrists down. So knuckles up to the roof, and this is just sort of how whether you're slumped over or chilling, I doubt your hand, most people's hands, and I can't say this for certain, but I don't assume most people's hands sit to the side like this. I would assume most people sit like this, which means it is a natural position to sit in. And when it becomes unnatural is when our brain turns into writing mode. We think, okay, then we get into this, we turn what's natural into unnatural. But like, even if, like, Marilyn, you say your hand sits to the side, this is not a tense way to sit for most people. Like, to have the wrist down shouldn't cause tension in just the way you're sitting, the way you're hanging out. So if I go from that, all I'm doing is lifting my back up, flattening my back, if those muscles you haven't used before, then there could be some extra muscle there in suspending yourself. But if the palm is down, I'm just relaxed. And then all I'm doing is setting my table up, my desk, and my chair, so that if I put myself on the pad of my pinky finger, I'm here. So I'm up a little bit. It's not tension so much as you're just getting this position in your hand. And if your hand sits in that position, it's gonna hold sort of the wrist and whatnot off the table a little bit. I will admit, my wrist does fall on occasion, more often than I would like. My wrist does go down to the desk. It's not always up off the desk. Traditionally, it's supposed to be up off the desk, but it's not always. So when the pen goes in the hand, you want to make sure, almost get go lazy for a moment and put weight on it, and that's your comfortable, natural, weighted position-ish. I don't imagine if you're forcing over too far, then I could sense right here, I can feel this muscle getting tense because I'm pushing over really far to the left. But a knuckle up position doesn't have to be way cranked over, exactly knuckles up. What did they used to say? I think there's a book, I can't remember specifically which one, but they would talk about putting a coin on the back of your wrist, and if it stayed there and it didn't fall over, because if you go to a modern grip, that's gonna fall over. So if we're here, then we're writing that should stay on the wrist, and if it doesn't, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but you want to be turned over. Now, did they train more to go over to the left back in the day? Possibly, but for me, I don't feel like you have to crank it over to the left. It's just enough so you're not way over here. You want to just be up on those fingers rather than resting on the side of your hand. That's all it is. So even if you're here, sort of this would be halfway in between. That still, to me, I would consider this a traditional grip. Personally. I don't know that I'd recommend taping your pen to your hand, though, Marilyn. I mean, I suppose you could, but I don't know if that's something I would really recommend. All right. Turn manual focus back on, so Oda Swinney doesn't have to come in here and give me heck. Ooh, that was a good one. Why can't I ever think of any D words when I need to? D word. What's a D word? How do you spell drought? Why am I all of a sudden forgetting how to write words? Hello, Avjeet. Welcome. Drought. It's not just T. What's going on, brain? One day I'll learn how to spell. Maybe. Oh, GHT. Right. Oof. Whoa! It's not midnight. That was not my 12 o'clock alarm going off. Ignore that. The lights are not turning off. Drought. Not followed by a vowel. I feel like there aren't that many. I mean, DR words would be the main ones. That wasn't the alarm, actually. That was a page on my browser that was open. I had lost that alarm sound, so I was finding it again, apparently, and forgot that page was open. Oh, it didn't go all the way to the baseline on that one. Oops. Alright, we have to remember to relax. Less about the words, more about execution of the capital D today. Don't want to let myself fall into habits and not care about the execution of this letter. Yeah, that's better. Exit almost a little blunt, but Dizzy Bunny. We haven't had a Dizzy Bunny in a long time. Thank you very much, Zero. This one's a little blunt on top. But we're working on it. Ooh, too angled. Whoa, what happened there? Pulled some weird. Oh yeah, there's a fiber there. Bummer. That's a long one. Dimethyl chloro tricycline? No, wait. Tetracycline? Oh, I can't pronounce medical words. Or chemistry words. Tetracycline. Is that how that one said? Tetracycline? That's a medication. Not my forte. Oh, tetracycline. I took tetracycline when I was younger. That's the only reason I assume that that's the way that was said. I did take tetracycline when I was younger. Actually. Or, because there's minocycline as well. It is also given to people with acne, I believe. Both. Dextrose. I should have done this on the other side of the page. I'm going to run out of space. That's a long word. Rushing my lowercase letters a little bit today. Nope. Lord had to leave. Oof, probably the worst D on the page so far. To angle a little bit. All about the details. Gotta be careful. Every once in a while this paper has, it's not a snag that stops me, but the paper has like a little fiber that will like catch the nib as it's moving. Like you can see I caught one right there on the end of the T. Which, I mean, I can't see those, so those are really unavoidable, unfortunately. But I do really like the look of writing on this paper. I'm enjoying it. Oh, blunt exit oval again. Oh, if you're feeling earthquake-like things, Marilyn, then you should probably, if your body's quaking, you should probably let it go to sleep. There's our whole page of capital D exercises. Fun. Well, the D does feel a little more comfortable. Where is, I'm just gonna grab an unlined sheet real quick. I wanna do some that are, I'm gonna take off the restraints of the baseline now, and I just want to do some slightly larger ones just for movement's sake. Dandy. I've never put an exit stroke off of a Y like that. I kind of like that. It's neat. If Lurker James was in the chat, he would say something like, "That's cute." He calls, anytime I do things like that, he calls it cute. Duty. I did forget duty. I was Howdy Doody for Halloween once. I won $300 in a costume contest for it. I think it was 300, or was it 150? I can't remember. Whoa. Not stellar. Let's try that again. Oh, I'm surprised I didn't do dude. Dude is a good D word. I know a lot of people dislike it. I remember once when I worked at Starbucks, I called a customer dude and he got very, very mad at me. I don't know why. I don't think I was doing anything rude. There's another one of those little paper fibers that I got there. That is apparently, judging by the look of that U, was still in my nib. No. Cool. So what happens when I write this big, I need to remember I do this large entry oval, but then because I go so far to the left here, I end up running out of movement, so I don't have smooth movement in the part where I need it the most. So I gotta make sure I set up my arm farther to the right than what feels like I want. If I'm gonna be doing a large entry stroke. Demystify with a super long F. This is gouache, Cyril, actually. Yeah, I'm using, it's St. Petersburg Masterclass Gouache in titanium white. It is my favorite white to write with. I know some people mix it with, I don't remember, they mix it with something else that they really like. Mine isn't a custom mixture other than the gouache and water. I haven't put, at least I don't think there's any gum arabic in it. I don't think there's any gum arabic in this one. But some people have mixed this one with some custom concoctions and whatnot, where they'll do some of this and some of bleed-proof white. But this is just raw St. Martin's, not St. Martin's, St. Petersburg Masterclass Gouache. St. Martin's. St. Martin's Day was just not long ago in Germany, I think. Oh, I didn't leave enough space between the N and the T. I do that often. With the lowercase t. Ooh, droplet. Good word. Oh, I spelled it with an I. Bah. No. Damn. You didn't know I was spelling Demistifi? Demistifi? Demistifi is what I wrote. Demistify. Demystified? Demistif. It wouldn't be Tiffy at the end. Demis. Or maybe it was Demi-stify. Demi-stify. Maybe that's what I was writing. Oh, I can't spell. My name is Michael Ward, and I can't spell. Oof, very long exit over there. Yep. Except Google doesn't help when I'm writing. I can't autocorrect my penmanship once I'm writing it. Spelling's just never been that important to me, which is bad. I'm well aware. Ooh, slow down at the top. too angled. Hello, Gary. It has been a very long time since you've been here. Welcome, welcome. Doing well. We're working on the capital D today. Oh, Cyril, no. The capital D is definitely not my favorite. It's just my challenge today. It's what I really want to work on today. So I did, before you got here, Cyril, I'll show from the beginning of the stream, we were doing some dedicated practice breaking down the strokes. I'm trying to improve my capital D, so I didn't have a super fun theme for today's stream, and I just really wanted to, I want to be able to write capital D more consistently. So I have to practice it. Oof, got a little crazy shaped. Yeah, you have no choice but to get good at the capital D. Unfortunately. Well, maybe some people are really good at it. It drives me nuts. I always figure one day I'll get better at it. But yeah, the capital D and the capital O are struggle buses for me. Whoa. Movement there and movement down here was no good. No good, no good. Not a word. Ooh, you got to see it in person. Her shop looks so nice. I want to go and see it. I want to go on a trip to see it. Is it local for you, Gary? Or are you on vacation? That's not a D word. I'm strict. By the book. D words only. Ooh, duck's a good one. But I think that's it for me this evening, everybody. A short stream today, I know. Because my throat is a little bit on the scratchy side, I want to take it easy today. I have to teach tomorrow, which means I'll be yelling over top of music. Sorry, Otis Winnie. Not again. Yes, again. I apologize. Hopefully next week we will go for a longer stream. As always, if anybody has any suggestions or requests for things that they would like to do or work on, like this stream was entirely the capital D today. If there are other things you would like to do, or specific letters or specific strokes you would like to work on, let me know. Post it in the comments below this video. Or jump in the Discord and post a question there if you want as well. And I can definitely add that sort of to our evening's to-do lists over the coming Tuesdays. Yeah, that's about it. Sorry to end the stream right after you got here, Gary. I apologize. Sorry, I see your message now that it's local. You're in Sydney. That's awesome. I'm jealous that you get to go and see that. Hopefully, I get to go on a vacation to Australia one of these days and I can check out the shop. But yeah, thank you so very much for hanging out with me today, everybody. That was a fun, much needed session. I didn't get to do a lot of writing this week, so that was good. I feel like I've made some progress. We're not there yet, but some of these capital D's are looking not too shabby. Make sure that you are falling in love with the process, and don't forget, everybody, that life should be just a bit of silliness, really. Good night, or good morning, and or good afternoon, or good noon if it's right at 12 for you. I don't know what time it is for you, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.